I believe in God because it's the most logical solution to the fact that all of this exists. But I hear from people all the time, like, how can you believe in God when science is such a consistent reason? This video is meant for people who think I'm a crazy person for the fact that I think having faith in God is more logical than having faith in science. But first, definitions are important. So I'd like to say that there are multiple ways we could view science. One would be that science is a method that we can use in order to conjecture and test hypotheses and see what's true and false in the world. And I love science for that. It's an incredible system. But when most people say that they have belief in science, what they really mean is they believe the sum total of all the things that we've learned are true through the scientific method. As a mathematician and a scientifically literate person, I would say that it is a wonderfully consistent system, and I really love the way that physics can almost follow us back to that very initial moment like 13.7 billion years ago. However, I have very, very serious questions about 3 points in time in the history of physics. Before I get back to those 3 points in time, let's talk about the search for a consistent and complete truth. In the description of looking for a true argument, one problem in the system destroys the entire argument. For example, I could say, I believe that pigs fly because pigs have a heart and birds have a heart and birds fly, therefore pigs fly. There's only one problem in that entire argument, and it's the fact that what makes things fly is the existence of a heart. But that one inconsistency destroys the entire argument. So these 3 questions I have about these 3 points in time are very serious problems in the belief in physics. The first one is that very initial moment. Like, if you believe that the sum total of what we know about science is the perfect description of all of history, then you believe in a logical impossibility. The Big Bang was a moment in time where all of everything, all the matter and energy in our entire universe, of all of the galaxies, of everything that exists, is all gathered together into one infinitesimal point. Well, this is absolutely impossible. So I wouldn't say that you shouldn't believe in it. I would just say you should have questions about this. Like, your belief actually has an inconsistency in it. You have faith that that inconsistency will be solved. And that's fine. You can have your faith in science. I simply believe when I look at all of this, it's wonderful. I think it seems like there's a sentient, divine creator who made this place. Now, I wouldn't go beyond that. What's the nature of this creator? That is an interesting question that is very worth thinking about. But I wouldn't go there now. I would just say the fact that I believe a conscious creator is a more consistent idea than this logical impossibility of the Big Bang. The second place in the history of physics that I have real questions is about the beginning of life. Now, there is a scientific search for the beginning of life, and my understanding is really what people are doing is sitting with like boxes of sand with different collections of what we think would be life creating minerals, and then they literally just like put it under vibration or some sort of stimulation, and they try to see, like, do the conditions of life occur? Now, I understand the law of large numbers and the fact that there are probably thousands, if not millions, of galaxies, and in each of those galaxies there are thousands to millions, maybe even more planets, and on all of those different places, some place could have the conditions for life created, and then life could begin. And that place could be Earth, and it could be other places as well. We just don't know at this point. Like, I understand all of that. I just think if I had a box of Legos and I stood here and shook it for 1 billion years, would I ever get an assembled Lego set? I don't think so, actually. I have real questions on this. There is a mathematics behind this. It's called the Poisson distribution, and we would say the chance that the Lego set would assemble is almost infinitesimally small. But given broad time and stimulation, it actually has a real chance of happening. I just don't think it ever would. Like, I think that chance is so small, it's 0. And I would say the same thing about the conditions of life. We have no clue what those conditions of life would be. We have good conjectures, and we're testing those conjectures, and we have no clue about the solution to that problem yet. So if you have faith in the history of this story of physics, I think that faith is awesome. You have faith, though. Like, how did life occur? We have no idea. Now, to put this in context, we are a powerful species. We know about the building blocks of existence. We know incredible amount. We are exploring quantum physics. We understand the theory of relativity, both special and general relativity. And these are theories about what could be true. Those theories are much more solid than most people are willing to believe. For example, the theory of gravity is a theory about how gravity works. And it seems very, very solid because every object that has ever gone up comes down as long as it's inside of a gravitational field. However, even something like the theory of gravity, I have questions about whether it operates the way we think it does. For example, we call it the gravitational coefficient. Well, it's not constant. It is a coefficient and it does seem to behave the way we think it should in a system. However, it's not constant. It is ever changing. So if we call that the gravitational constant, which is common, we're actually not saying things that are true. The third place where I have real questions about people who have faith in the history of physics is the beginning of consciousness. I mean, we really have no clue about consciousness. We have trouble even defining consciousness. As a species, we're clueless. Now think about how powerful we are. Think about all of the things that we know and can do, and then think about we know nothing about the one thing that truly makes us human. You might have a different definition of humanity than I do, but I would just say the thing that makes us human is that we have a very special level of consciousness. Lily over there is definitely a conscious being. We communicate. That's real. It is not the same as human consciousness. There's something that sets us apart in our consciousness. Now, could Lily be like a different family of evolution, a different species of evolution, and our consciousness evolved differently? Certainly. I'm just saying we have no understanding, absolute zero. Now, if you have faith in the history of science, that's wonderful, but you should recognize you have faith that there are answers to these questions and that science can answer those questions. And that's fine. I would just say if you believe in the Big Bang, where all of the essentially infinite amount of energy and matter is gathered together into an infinitesimal space, well, that has the same logical consistency as believing that the great unicorn ripped a hole in another dimension and then infinite amount of energy poured through it. Like it just is a logical impossibility, and I might as well say God spoke it into existence. In terms of logical consistency, these have equal validity. So when you look at the world, I would just say, what do you find more convincing? This world is wonderful. One of the things I see is that I believe there is far more good than evil in the world. And so the nature of this world speaks to the nature of that creator, if I'm right that there is a creator. Now, I wouldn't say that this is logically perfect. Certainly, I have faith. I just believe it makes the most sense. As a story, this place seems to me too wonderful to have been a random series of an incredible amount of random chances. If you have interesting articles or feedback, please feel free to comment below. And if this was interesting, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. This is the Stoic Yogi, out.